Hey everybody, thanks for joining me this afternoon. I'm kind of thinking that this afternoon is going to be like a Sunday buffet. I've got all sorts of different ideas for you to pick and choose from for lots of different things that you can do in your classroom. They're simple, they're easy, you can do them just like that. And most of these ideas can be adapted to different age levels. So you could use it with pre-K children, with kindergarten children, with first, second, and third grade children. Just vary the content that you use and the skills you build. So I wanted to get started with a brain break, and this is marching. All you have to do is put on some marching music and you just get a tremendous amount of energy. Good things go into the brain. And you can just march regular, but I'm going to do it. Sure. So,
how high can you lift your knees?
And then how high can you lift your knees? And then how high can you lift your hands?
How high can you swing your arms?
How high can you swing your arms? And then you can have you march with your feet wide. You can march with your feet close together. You can march on tippy toes. You can march fast. You can march slow. There's all sorts of different ways that you can march, and the children can do it right by their desk or their seat, and any kind of music, and you get a lot of energy going that way. So that's a good brain break, marching. Wanted to also mention the little voice box this month. Now is the time when you're really pushing skill mastery and how do we help children learn all this information. And purposeful practice for automaticity. That means we have to repeat things over and over. But it's very boring for children if we say we're going to read these word wall words 4 times, or we're going to read over this big book 4 times, or with like your younger children, we're going to say this nursery rhyme 4 times. And so if you go to my website and you click on and you write fluency cards in the search engine, you can download 1, 2, 3, 3.5 pages of different styles, different things that you can do. I call these interest boosters. So you cut them apart and you get a little box and put them in the box and call it the voice box. Then you can let like several children come and choose a card, and then you could practice whatever you're working on, whether it's counting, word wall words, reading over big books, and they pull these out, and then you can read these with a different style. So like underwater style. Or maybe we're going to do 3 bear style, and we're going to count. Papa bear,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Mama bear, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Baby bear, 21, 22, 23. You get it. And then Granny Bear's my favorite. Gee, I wonder why.
31, 32, 33.
And so they love to do 3 bear style. With emotions. You can say something happy, you can say something sad, you can say something scared, you can say something rude. And so when you're reading over your little leveled readers, you could take a different voice for each page and do it. And I've just got, you'll find all sorts of different ways that you can repeat skills with a cold and make it a lot more fun for your kids. So the voice box. Now, I also wanted to share a few ideas for things that you could do instead of a worksheet. And so I'm going to show you how to make a house book. You fold lengthwise like this, and then you open it up, and you fold bend the 2 corners down to the middle. And then if you fold up the bottom just a little bit like this, you'll have something that looks like a house. And some people say it looks like a boat. That's fine, whatever you want to call it. And some things that you could do with this instead of doing a worksheet. Okay, so maybe you're working on letters for phonics. They could put like an uppercase L and a lowercase l, and then open this up and draw pictures, write words, things that start with L. You could do this with vowel sounds. You could do this with digraphs, almost any phonics thing you might want to do. This also works really well for word families. So you could have the children write all, and then open this up, and all of the words that end with the all sound, they could write those. And you see why I like these blank, open-ended books. Whatever level the children are at, they have a challenge and they can be successful with it. Another thing, this makes a great book report. They write the title of the book, the author, the illustrator, and then they open it up and draw their favorite part of the book. The older children, you could let them use this to write their favorite part in addition to drawing a picture of it. You can use this for math. You could write the number 7, and then they open this up and create different ways that you can make 7 with tallies or dots or words or whatever. You can also use this for my family, that they write their address here and then they open it up, and you could let them draw pictures of how they like to have fun with their family, or what they do with their family when they turn things off. If you turn off your TV and your computer, what are some fun things you can do with your family? So I'd encourage you to try doing a house book this week instead of doing a worksheet. And now, like with the younger children, when I do these books, I do it with a small group. So if you've got like 5 or 6 kids around you, you can kind of guide them and help them get this going correctly. And then the older kids, once they learn how to make a house book, you can give them different assignments. So even something, you know, in science, open up your house book and do all of the things that use electricity, or open your house and do all the things that float. And just tie it in with different things you're doing. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you how to make out of a simple sheet of paper is a wallet. Okay, so what's in your wallet? I'm going to show you how to make the wallet, and then we'll talk about what we can put in the wallet. So you hold the paper like this, horizontally, lengthwise, and fold it up to about 1 inch from the top. If you take glue and you glue a little bit of glue on both sides like that at the bottom, and then seal it, and then fold it in half, you will have something that looks like a wallet. Now, the children can decorate the front of their wallets, and how can you use this to build a skill? Well, you could have the children and give them dollar bills. Just cut out green paper, and there are their dollar bills. You could let them write sight words and save them in their wallet. Younger children could write letters or numbers and save them in their wallet. They could write math facts and save them in their wallet. Older children could write vocabulary words or the spelling words each week and save them in their wallet. And then that way, when you've got a few extra minutes, they can get out their wallets and they can practice their words or letters or numbers or whatever it might be. And this might also be an interesting thing to send home for homework, that they could do it one night with their families and then send it back. Kids love to make things. They are in that age of industriousness. So when you make something, this is what I call a rabbit trap. It just kind of engages them. And I've been doing a lot of research on SEL, social emotional learning, and we're realizing that maybe we have pushed academics a little bit too much, and we need to look at this whole child. And you know, I'm a dinosaur. I've been doing this a long time, and the things that I talk about, like handshakes and doing cheers and doing finger plays and doing partner projects, those things are still so powerful to do with children, and they're the best ways to develop that social emotional learning and to engage children. Well, let's take a look at some other March ideas for Wendy March. Kids love kites, and I've got a few simple kites. And if you've ever tried to fly a real kite with young children, unless the wind is just perfect and you've got a big flat open field, it's a little frustrating. So these are kites that they can actually make, and then they can fly themselves. And so this is just a paper plate, and you let them decorate the paper plate, and then they can glue on some strips of tissue paper, punch a hole, tie a string at the top, and then they can just run on the playground and the kite will fly behind them. Another kite can be made out of a lunch bag, just a paper lunch bag, and you can let them decorate it. They can paint it. You can let them be as creative as they want to with it. You're going to need to cut a little hole out of the bottom of the lunch bag, and then once they get it decorated, punch holes, tie a string on it. And here again, this one acts like a windsock, and it's a great way to get them to run around on the playground because they run around and make this fly. And yeah, I was even thinking, you know, like this one, you could tie into some of the skills you're working on, like vocabulary, synonyms for windy, breezy, gusty, blustery. You could also just let them do letters, numbers, sight words. Younger children could make a shape kite, whatever skill you want them to do. Just give them the lunch bag, let them practice it, and then turn it into a kite. But my very favorite kite, I just love this one. I mean, I'm 70 years old and I still like this one. It is just your typical plastic grocery bag, and if you tie a string at the bottom on a windy day, you can go, and this one will actually go up quite a distance if you have a long enough kite string. But I found with kids, one of the worst things you can do is give them a string that's too long because it gets tangled up in their feet. So probably, you know, a 3-foot string for most of these kites would be a good thing. And then birds, of course. You know I love birds, and I don't know if you, I've started doing some little videos. They're called Just for Kids, where I can't go to all your classrooms, but I can visit your classroom with YouTube. And so I've done one recently with birdies, and so I do my little bird story and sing my birdie song. And I've got a few other bird projects. This one is just a paper plate folded in half, and the children can color it and make a nest. And then if you go out on the playground, they can find sticks and pine straw and different things and put in the nest, and then make a little bird and put it in the nest. I believe I showed you this one last year, but maybe you've forgotten about it, and it's well worth repeating. This one, first we're going to make a nest out of a lunch bag, and they open up the lunch bag, and then you roll out and down. And I love doing things with birds and nests because there are so many fiction and nonfiction books that you can tie in. Who Stole the Farmer's Hat, The Mixed Up Nest, Are You My Mother, so many of those. But you just give children the lunch bag and they roll it out and down, and you have a great little nest. And your nest needs a little bird. Now, sometimes, you know, people get concerned about the difference between crafts and actually open-ended art. And you know what? I think both of them are important. The good thing about crafts, small motor skills, and there's that task initiation and task completion. I'm going to start something and I'm going to complete it. And then with this baby bird, after I show you how to make it, I'll suggest some things that you could do to extend it to tie in some of your skills. So 2 tissues, and they wad up one. The children can do this. And then they open up the second one and put that little wadded up ball in there. Now this part you're going to have to do for them. So they wrap it around, and you will have to take a string, and you just take the string and you tie it in a knot right around that little ball there. And if you open it up and fluff it out a little bit, you will have something that looks like a little baby bird. And the children can put the little eyes and the beak on it. And people who have made this have just, you know, the children are just delighted. And it's a good way to talk about how to care for animals. And you have to be fragile with the little baby bird. And they can name the bird. And then they can write a story about a bird. And speaking of writing a story about a bird, someone this week or 2 weeks ago at a workshop said, do you have any ideas for writing prompts? And, you know, in each of our packets, our monthly packets, we have great projects to get children started writing. This one, how to build a nest, first, next, then. Another writing prompt. This one is a follow-up to Who Stole the Farmer's Hat? Why did the farmer decide to let the bird keep his hat? If you were a bird, what would you use to build your nest? I smile in the spring because, and Carolyn took a picture of each of their children, just their mouth cut out, their mouth smiling, and then they had to identify whose mouth it was, and then they talked about why they smile in the spring. If I had a pot of gold, and wouldn't we all like that? And if I were a leprechaun, I would hide. So you'll find story starters each month in our Happies. And then here's another idea for story starters. You can let the children cut out pictures or draw pictures. And I have some with characters. And so I've got the characters on the orange lollipops. I have some with places, and I have the places on the green lollipops, and I have some what happened, and I have those on the yellow lollipops. So, you know, like with my pre-K kids, I could just let them draw one and make up an oral story about it. My kindergarten children could draw one and use it to prompt a story. My first graders could draw one of each color and then use that to start writing a story. And then I wanted to show you this little trick about editing. You have the children hold up their hand and you say, okay, now if you started your sentence with a capital letter, you can put up your thumb. If you read it and it makes sense, you can put up your pointer. And if you remember to put punctuation at the end, you can put up your pinky, and then you can say, I love my sentence, because this is sign language for love. And so it's a really good way that children can self-correct their own writing. And then I love this idea that Carolyn has in our March Happies. She calls them the punctuation police. So they get to wear the badge, and one badge is the space sheriff, and they go around and they compliment their friends who are using spaces in their writing. Another one is the punctuation police, and they go around and check and make sure everybody's got punctuation. Of course, we have Captain of the Capitals, and they make sure they start their sentence with a capital letter. And then I love this one, the Praise Patrol. They go around and give positive comments to their friends about their writing. So, just a few other ideas. I mentioned, I wanted to mention this one too. I thought this was a really good idea of Carolyn's. How are they alike and how are they different? And she has different pictures, and this is just perfect for critical thinking. And so you pull up the cards. You've got 2 minutes before lunch. You pull these out. How are the bike and the ball alike, and how are they different? And I mean, even as a grown-up, these are things that can help you with your critical thinking, or in my case, keep me from getting dementia. But these are some great things to have on hand just to encourage critical thinking skills. In March, and I see I'm about out of time, we've got a song about St. Patrick's Day and 5 little kites, and we've got birds and just lots of fun things. And then one of my favorite story prompts is this one: today was a good day because. And that just ties along with social emotional learning, that every day you start off and you say, we're going to have a good day today. This is what we're going to do. If you're a teacher, you've got to be a salesperson. You sell them, we're going to have a good day. And then at the end of the day, to send them home with a sweet thought, today was a good day because. And then another teacher said she has a little chapstick with aroma in it. And when they leave, they have to tell her something good that happened that day. And she gives them a little bit of that chapstick that smells, and it's to help them remember what a sweet smelling day it was. So thank you for joining me. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you in another couple weeks. Bye now.